Hello everyone, hello, welcome back. Today I took a bit longer to upload this, to make this video. I was kind of busy yesterday. I was busy looking for a book and I think I found one. This one is called Introduction to Python Programming from OpenStax. It is a PDF book and here goes all the relevant information. And it is an open source book, meaning that you don't have to pay for it. And it's by Rice University and OpenStax. It is designed to be a book for uh, to help students from high school to get access to college level material because as you can imagine, high school students don't have much money to buy college textbooks. So I'll tell you how to find this book. Let me open up a web browser. I was listening to some music, doing some programming, so don't mind that. Remember, I do recommend, well, depending on how you feel about music while you work, I do like this um, creator. They have a lot of lo-fi and chill. How do I describe it? It's kind of like technical music, smooth synth technical music. Let me see if I can play a snippet. They might copyright strike it, but let me see if I can play a preview for it. It's kind of like a synth type of music, very, very relaxing. It helps me focus when I'm programming because I'm one of those people that tends to log in, as they say, and I get stressed. So to go back to the book, to Google search, I just, Google search OpenStax. As you can see, I already looked at before. Introduction to Python Programming. And at least for me, it is the first search result. I click it, and here it goes. Excuse me. And you can have here an introduction, summary, everything you need to the book. And you can either read it online. Uh, so just go to your book, and here it goes. Or, like I did, download a PDF and just click here. Go to your file. So I downloaded the PDF and it's the full book. Alright, so let me go ahead and zoom in. So far, we've covered if commands, we've covered basic input, output, we've covered what a variable was, what string characters are, what numerical data is. We covered integers, floating points, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Very basic stuff. And then last week we covered some if statements. So today I wanted to cover some loops. So chapter 5, I'm going to click chapter 5. So, well, here's the information about a loop. A loop is basically just a program that'll run a piece of code over and over again until a condition is met. Okay, so here, a while loop. A while loop is kind of like the if then, if else. You use the while keyword and you tell Python to do something as long as the condition is true, and then it'll stop. So here's an example. It'll do Fibonacci. A Fibonacci is a mathematical sequence of numbers where it takes two numbers and adds them together, and it gives you the two, and it gives you the new number. So you take the two previous numbers and it'll give you the new number. And the first two numbers are defined as 1. So when you have the third number, it'll take the two first numbers, which is 1 and 1, add them together, you get 2. And then to move on, you get the next two numbers, which is 1 and 2, you get 3. And then you add the next ones, 2 and 3, you get 5. And then 5 and 3, so on and so forth, you get 8. So here we have this loop. We have in here, let's go back and open our Python online, then try new IDE. There we go. I have an ad blocker, as you can see up here, and I have a lot of blockers that don't track my activity online. Since now that I know more data science, I understand how corporations are tracking my every website I visit, even my mouse movements. I don't want to be tracked, so I just for privacy reasons, I don't need for Google or Amazon to install their trackers. They'll be alright, what does this user do on YouTube? Well, they listen to a 1 hour video with music, and then they watch some dinosaur videos, and then they might watch an LTT video, a Linus Tech Tip video, then it gives a like, and then more Linus Tech Tip videos. I don't need them to know that detailed information. So let's go with the loop. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I clicked the wrong. Did I close it? Yes, I did. Let me open it up again. You know what? I'm just gonna download my textbook. I have it on my cloud account. So I'm just gonna copy it into my local downloads folder. Control C, Control V. Um, Copy, paste. and it's just downloading the text. See, it's 0 bytes, so it's going. Now, while we're waiting for that to happen, let's go ahead and explore my system. For anyone that's curious, I already mentioned, but eh, you know, you're wondering how can I get Windows to look like that? You can't. This is not Windows. This is Zorin OS, and I have it running here on my desktop or my laptop. Here goes my information for it, and I have it on the kernel 6.19. So a more updated kernel than the one that ships with Zorin 18.1. If I remember correctly, they have it at 6.17. I wanted to run it 7.0 kernel, but it's not compatible. So 6.19 is good enough. Why am I using such a new kernel? Well, because I just want to have maximum compatibility with all my software and the hardware. My hardware isn't exotic, but it's more modern than, let's say, a Ryzen 5000 or Ryzen 4000, 3000. It's not a it's not a processor that's been out for 2 or 3 years, so it might not have as much support. So that's why I have a more modern kernel. We're not here, so let me just open the book. Ah, okay, that's clearly too big. Fifth page. Okay. We were in chapter 5. Oops. Okay. Now let's fit the width. That's automatic too. Oh, that's slightly better. Because it doesn't fit the whole thing. It leaves some space in the margins. Alright, so here we have the loop. So we have, where are we? Okay, here. So let me go ahead and snap here. And then snap my reader to the right. Alright, that is too small. So let me resize it. There we go. So we're gonna try just copying the code here. Hashtag initializing the first two. So we're gonna say that we're gonna starting the first two numbers in this sequence. We'll call it Fibonacci sequence. Then we're gonna say f equals 1. Excuse me, g equals 1. We're gonna say here print f and equals just a blank space. Okay. So we're telling it to print 1 and then a space. Once we hit end, we do a space. So here, setting up the while loop. So we're going to say while g is less than 20. Remember when you colon here, print g and then end it with an empty space. Now in the while loop, we need to calculate the next number in this sequence. So we're going to have a temporary, which we're going to declare it as f, remember the first one. And then we're going to say f equals g, and then g equals the temporary plus g. Alright, what are we doing? Well, we're taking our while loop and we're saying as long as my g is less than 20, we're going to print g and then we're going to end it with a space. How do we do that? Well, we're going to take a temporary value, which is f, which we declared it as 1. After that, we're going to set f is equal to g. And lastly, g is equal to the temporary value plus g. So we're referring to itself. Alright, now let's run it. There we go. See, 1, 1. We're going to print. So the first one, this first one is this right here, f. We can verify by having a new print and say this is the first operation, and then here, so we can know where it's going. We can say this is where the loop starts. Oh, you see, I did the thing. I didn't do the new line. So here, slash n, there it goes. This is where the loop goes. So you see, we start with 1, f, and then it goes here, g. G is 1, so 1. Then we go to the temporary values f. Then we say f is g, which is 1. Then we say temporary 1 plus g, which is 1. So that's 1 plus 1 equals 2. Okay? So now we know my g is equal to 2. So g is less than 2, so it'll go back again. And if this is where the loop goes, it'll print a g. Here, 2. Then it's going to temporary value of f, which previously was 1. Then we're going to say f is equal to the new g, which is 2. So now the temporary, which is 1 plus 2, should give us 3. There it goes. Then, once it finishes here, it goes back to check. G is equal to 3, which is less than 20. So it'll go over and over and over until once you start adding, and that value that you add is more than 20. Was less, yeah. Once you get outside the loop, so 8 plus 13 is 21. 21 is bigger than 20. So you are no longer fulfilling the condition, so it breaks the loop. Okay. That is a while loop. Now, while loops are handy for situations like this, where you're the one that sets the iterations per it, like you're the one that sets how the equations update. Sorry, I had to take a drink of my beverage. Um, for if you're trying to do something like a count, where you go one by one, that's a simpler case. It might benefit to do a a for loop. But first, let's go ahead and do this other example. Let's do example 5.1. So let's go ahead and erase this. Oh, erase. Excuse me. There we go. So let's call this example 5.1. Let's see. This code will, this program will print the odd numbers between 1 and 10. Alright, so we'll start with the counter. Alright, so start the counter, and we're going to start the counter at 1. Counter equals 1. So we're going to say start the loop here, setting up the loop, the while loop. So while, remember this is where you set your conditions. While your counter is less than or equal to 10. This is what you wanted to do. If, so you're integrating a condition into the while. So as long as your counter is less than or equal to 10, so you're going to say if the counter modulo 2 is exactly 1, then we want to print the counter. Then we're going to say counter plus equals 1. So what we're doing here is we're taking the counter and then we're setting it to 1, and then we're adding 1. It's just shorthand notation. And then the if statement, it's saying modulo is a mathematical operation where you take your division, where you take a division. So you're taking your number value counter, then you're dividing by 2. So, 10 divided by 2 is 5. What the modulo operation, which is the parentheses, the this symbol right here, the percentage symbol, that says take the leftover, the remainder. So if the remainder of your division is 1, then you print the counter. Okay. So let's see what happens. Um, if what I messed up somewhere. Oh, look at that. Silly me, I forgot my colon. There it goes. So remember, we started a counter at 1. So 1, it goes down from line 5 to line 8. And then counter, is it less than or equal to 10? Yes. So if counter divided by 2, if the remainder is 1, then you print the counter. So 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. Rounding up, that's 1. So it'll print 1. Then it'll add 1. It'll update counter to 1. Update counter plus 1. And then 2. 1 plus 1 is 2. Counter. Is 2 less than 10? Yes. Less or equal to 10? Yes. So counter 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. What's the remainder? 0. Is 0 equal to 1? No. So it prints nothing. And then add 2 plus 1, 3. 3 divided by 2, 2 goes into 3 one time, 2, and then with a remainder of 1. So it'll print 3. Then 3 plus 1, 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. There's no remainder, so it won't do anything. And then it'll do 5. 5 divided by 2 is, it goes in 2.5 times. What's the remainder? A remainder of 1. Because 2 times 2 is 4. And we still need 1 more, so on and so forth until we get to 9. And once we get to 10, 10 divided by 2 is 5 with no remainder, and that's it. Okay? Now, you'll have to, excuse me, I need to go use the restroom real quick. Let me see if I can pause the recording. Alright, I'm back, everyone, I'm back. Let's go back to the code. Okay, so as I look at my OBS, I've been recording for 29 minutes. I might have to cut it here because I think it's 30 minutes is my limit on YouTube unless I give him my phone number, which I don't want to do. So go ahead, check out the textbook. Remember, it is on So it's a Google search. OpenStax Introduction to Python. For me, it's the very first one. Here we go. Right here, it looks like this. Then just download a PDF. That's what I did. So I could have the PDF ready. However, that means that I have the textbook at the version when I downloaded it. So if, here, let me see. Mine is from April 22nd, 2026. The web version was updated on April 7th. So, I mean, you'll have to make a decision if you want a version that you have on your computer all the time, or if you want the most updated version. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. Enjoy your programming.